So I want to preface this saying I still have not seen a huge amount of magical girl stuff. I'm mostly going to be talking about Precure and Madoka, since rewatching Madoka is kind of what gave me this thought. Because I already kind of talked about this. If you've seen the Weeb Club on Tokyuger, Resha Sentai Tokyuger, or the Nono Show podcast on Hugto Precure, I've already said some of what I'm going to say. Because I like transformation sequences, especially magical girl ones, I think, because they're animated and cool animation is cool. Like Super Sentai ones are fine, but it's CG, so it's still, so I like some of them, but, like, in Star Twinkle Precure, I've never seen a transformation with, like, lyrics before, and for some reason, like, sometimes it gets, like, I don't even, like, Star Twinkle Precure is probably, like, my second least favorite Precure season I've watched any of, because I did watch, like, 2 episodes of Maho Sakai Precure and dropped it, whereas Star Twinkle's, like, 10 episodes in. It's good. It's good. It's just the other ones I've watched I liked, like, they're all 9 out of 10s, and Alamode is still possibly, maybe, if I rewatch it, one of my favorite animes, so, but yeah, the fucking, like, the transformation sequences just sometimes I get, like, misty-eyed, and I'm like, fuck, like, why? I'm not, I only kinda like this show, but yet there I am having feelings, so, like, I don't know where this claim came from. I think it was a video on Revolutionary Girl Utena. Maybe. I never watched it. I just heard the complaint secondhand about how, like, the transformations are time-wasting. And, like, well, okay, that opens up a whole, like, barrel of things to talk about right there. Whereas, like, time-wasting in a medium or just entertainment in general is supposed to, be a distraction, a time sink, an escape. It's art, so there's still value in that, but, like, I do think that there's narrative value behind the transformation sequence, as this comparison is going to, or as these thoughts are going to reveal, I would say, or explain. Because what I've said before in those podcasts is, I compare the transformation sequences to a quote by Horikoshi, the author of My Hero Academia. He said that, like, part of the reason he gave All Might the catchphrase, I am here, is because he thinks of Goku from Dragon Ball, because whenever Goku shows up, like, it's gonna be okay. The hero is here, he's gonna save the day. And I thought about how that applies to Precure and Super Sentai, because, like, when it's a repeated transformation sequence, like, what does that literally mean? It means, like, the character has fought before, that's why they're repeating the transformation sequence, and they're going to fight again. Like, they're always going to show up, they're always going to save the day. Yeah, because, yeah, they lose, and that happens, but, they persevere. And I think that's sort of what the transformation sequence kind of is, at least to me, narratively. It's perseverance, the characters continuing to fight. Because, like, that's the almost, like, nihilistic thing about these premises, is that, like, Super Sentai and Precure, because they always end, like, on these world-saving, like, fucking climaxes, and then next week another series starts, and the world's in life-threatening danger again. Like, that's, it's been commented on. One Punch Man kind of takes that same idea, where it's, like, constant world-ending threats, because, in a media that must continue, there must constantly be threats, so every world-ending fight just, ends. But at the same time, even, there's even the phrase in Hugto Precure, especially, Precure never give up. They're always going, and that's another, phrase I've heard, as long as there's evil, there will be a good to fight it. It's just very, hopeful and idealistic and good and great. So yeah, I've been having that thought again, especially mostly because noticing what Madoka, how it does, what it does differently. Not saying Madoka's the only thing that does it differently. Again, I have not seen many Magical Girl series. I've seen, or at least the ones that I would consider, like, I don't know why Kill la Kill, or even Revolutionary Girl Utena, or definitely Is This a Zombie? I like Little Witch Academia, like, yeah, they're magical girls, but they're girls who have magic, I should say, but I don't think that necessarily makes them magical girls. I don't know what the, like, standard, like, transformation sequences, because yeah, Utena and Kill la Kill have transformation sequences, but are they really magical girl series? I don't know. They're not what I think of when I think of magical girl series. That's just my arbitrary genre distinction against someone else's arbitrary genre distinction. But I have seen Cardcaptor Sakura, Flip Flappers, 3 Precure series, and Madoka. So not a huge amount. Only one of those is even predates Madoka. So Madoka. So but like, cause it's only 12 episodes long, and the movie, it's much shorter than, you know, a 1 50 episode season of Precure, let alone the 3 I've seen. And so the characters transform multiple times. But in the TV series, like, 4 of the main characters have 1 transformation in the entire show. And then they all have 1 transformation sequence in the movie. And that's what I thought was interesting. I guess Madoka spoilers. It's, to my surprise, people still have not seen Madoka. Not that it's, like, weird that, like, because it is, like, 8 years old, and, you know, not everyone's interested in magical girl stuff. It's just weird to me personally because it was such a big deal. Both when it was airing, I saw the reaction threads on 4chan. I saw it. It was huge. It was a big deal to me when I watched it. It's been on, like, Netflix, so it's been accessible, like, legally. So, like, it just feels like, yeah, everyone's watched Madoka, right? No, not everyone's watched Madoka, of course. But, like, because it only uses the transformation sequences once, like, yeah, the characters die. That's kind of the thing that happens. So they're not ones who persevere, I think, is what I'm getting at, basically. Because the narrative of Madoka is more, is about failure and making childish mistakes, as Madoka's mom puts it. There may or may not be a video in the works. Just saying. So it was just a thought I had. That I thought was kind of interesting. Or it's like Madoka being not about perseverance made me realize that these Super Sentai and Precure shows really are about perseverance in that sense. So yeah, I just thought it was. Though I groan because I realize, like, that's the kind of shit people use to say, like, look, Madoka's so different. It's a deconstruction. It's dark. It's more realistic. Like, no, I don't think that's the. Okay, I'm probably going to approach in another side channel video, I'm probably going to talk about Madoka as a deconstruction, because there was one thing I noticed. It's heavily potential based, but, like, you know, I've seen, like, What's video on deconstructions, and I like his point that, like, being more realistic does not make for a deconstruction. And I wouldn't even, and, like, what is realistic anyway? Applying realism to a story is just, like, an arbitrary thing. Because you can say it's too realistic or not realistic enough. Like, perseverance. Like, oh, people fail, therefore Madoka's more realistic but people succeed, too. So, which one's more realistic? People do persevere, but sometimes they don't. That's, like, saying one thing is realistic is just ignorant, I think. I mean, not that isn't, like, more grounded takes in anime. Like, you know, I don't know. I wouldn't even say Madoka is necessarily more grounded than Precure in realism or anything like that. Like, wow, characters die. Okay, whatever. At least not, like, extremely so. Like, that's the other thing that people. Oh, it makes it more realistic. So, like, being a magical girl sucks. Therefore, it's a deconstruction. I wouldn't say no. Like. My definition of deconstruction is, like, well, see, I have 2 books on deconstruction that I still haven't fucking read yet, so my definition could still be wrong. But, like, as I understand it, it basically means when you deconstruct, like, think of like a clock. You deconstruct the clock, it no longer works as a clock anymore. And so, like, when you deconstruct something, you're basically looking at the elements of it and realizing that, or to make the point that, you know, something, whatever you're deconstructing, there's, like, arbitrarity behind it, I suppose. I'll probably explain my thoughts more later in that Madoka deconstruction side video, as if that isn't a fucking tired topic enough. But yeah, that was just see, it's like, the point of the video basically is to get out, like, a thought that's not worth an actual, like, main channel video. Like, wow, like, it could literally be, like, a paragraph of, like, look, these shows have characters who persevere, but this one doesn't. Isn't that neat? Like, boom, there's a 30-second analytical video for you. But no, instead I'll give a little ramble with some of my personal feelings alongside it, I guess, because this is a side channel. It's more personal. It feels real. It feels real. I don't know. I'm honestly also, just as a side note, I'm more interested in, like, I realize this, like with shonen, there's a lot of discourse around them, but it's all very like dismissive or destructive and like, oh look, oh they're all the same, like all the shonen are just the same. Bleach is just Dragon Ball with swords. And it's annoying. So like when I like look at shonen series, like honestly, like I tend to like, my favorite story of all time is one, but like I also kind of don't care for some of the commonalities like training arcs or tournaments. So I'm wondering if like, I don't know, I feel like I like might like Magical Girl more, or at least might be more interested in Magical Girl as a genre than shonen, because with shonen it's like I want to read more of these stories and examine them mostly to separate, to point out what separates them from each other. Like, because I even made a mistake talking about like One Piece and Bleach, because Luffy and Ichigo have some similar aspects to their arcs, and if you look at them under protection, they kind of do. But like if you like with Ichigo, it's more about trust, and with Luffy, it's more about sacrifice. So they have this similar idea, but they still go about this arc in different ways from each other. So I made the same mistake of like thinking things were too similar. I think what pointed that out to me. But like with Magical Girls, I've just had various thoughts about like the commonalities of the ones I've haven't seen, which is again a lot of Precure. Like in Precure, forgiveness. Like I don't think there's a villain who ever like doesn't have a second chance to be better. Basically, Madoka probably isn't going to be about forgiveness because QB is a fucking bitch. And I think I had another thought. About just... Oh, I've noticed that there's prophetic dreams, because Madoka starts with one, and Cardcaptor Sakura starts with one, and I'm wondering like how much more common they are. Self-worth is kind of like a common one, but that's something I'll definitely talk about later. I don't know, I'm just interested in like Mirage Fan, she made like 3 videos and then died. Apparently she's still working on stuff. She followed me out of the blue a little while ago, which was interesting. I don't know why. I don't know why. But yeah, I don't know. Magical girls are cool.